Hello, good evening. My name is Juan, and I'll be doing this exercise all by my own because I have no friends who can help me with this. So let me just start here. So, good morning. My name is Juan. Could you tell me your full name, please? Sure. My name is Juan Manuel Pataquio Benavides. And what shall I call you? You can call me Juan. Okay, now in this first part of the exam, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. So let's talk about your free time. What did you enjoy doing in your free time? What I do enjoy doing in my free time is working out, actually playing volleyball. That's an exercise that I really like. How much time do you have each week for doing these things? Well, actually, I don't have a lot of time because in this moment I'm working and studying, so I don't have a lot of free time. But when I have free time, I try to work out. I try to play volleyball. I used to have a team. Right now, I don't have a team because of the same reason. But that's what I do. Why do you like doing these activities? I think that because it reminds me of when I was younger, because I used to play volleyball when I was at school. And I had a really good time playing volleyball because I made some friends, I met really good people. So I think that that's why I like volleyball. How do you start doing this activity at first? Well, actually, as I said previously, when I was at school, when I was like 14 years old, I started playing volleyball just like when I had the time. But then I decided to practice like in the school's team. It was really good. I think that I had a really good time playing with friends, meeting people, sometimes playing some tournaments. I used to play ESPN. It was really, really good. Um, and those tournaments that we had in the neighborhood. So that's basically it. How do you start? Okay. So let's move on and talk about being on time for appointments. Is being late acceptable in your culture? Well, I think that we as Colombian people think that being late is okay, but I don't agree with that. Because I think that that's disrespectful. So I don't like to be late anywhere. Are you ever late for appointments? I'm not. I'm gonna say it that I will never be late because I try to be really organized with my time. So, for example, if we're gonna be meeting each other at 8 p.m., I will be there at 7:50, so I can get there with time. I won't be in a rush because that's something that I don't like. What type of excuses do you think are alright for lateness? Well, maybe if you have like a huge problem, like I don't know, your mom dies or something like that, I think that that's acceptable. But when you're like, I don't know, I fell asleep or things like that, I'm like, that's not an excuse, you know? How do you feel when someone is late for an appointment with you? I I'd say that I can get really angry when someone gets late because you have to plan yourself for what you're gonna do. So you should plan if you're gonna meet with someone. And I agree that traffic here in Bogota is mess, but it doesn't mean that you can get late because of that, because we really know that. So what basically you have to do is you must plan yourself about what you're gonna do, what time you will leave home, what time are you planning to get there, so you will make sure that you'll be on time. So let's move on the second part of Sam. I'm gonna give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you start, you will have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you want. Do you understand? I do. I would like you to describe a beautiful place in your country. You should say where it is, how to get there, and what there is to do when you are there. Okay? So, all right, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry. If I stop you, I will tell you when the time's up. Can you start speaking now, please? I'm gonna go with Pacific. That's a place here in Colombia. How to get there? What I did to get there was I'm here in Bogota, so I took a plane to Cali. When I got in Cali, I took a bus to Buenaventura, and in Buenaventura you have to take like a boat to Pacific. I think that that trip is kind of hard, it's kind of difficult because we don't have a lot of access there, but once you're there, it's really worth it. Um, what there is to do when you're there. I think that that place is to rest, like to think about yourself because that's around nature. You have some beaches around you, so you can go and walk really long distances, and you can think about what you really want to do in your life. Uh, the place where I stayed is called Pacific Hostel. So basically, that's a hostel, so you can meet people from different countries and talk with them different topics. It was amazing because I met a French girl there and we used to talk like why she's there, like because she was from France, and she was there and getting there was not really easy. So it was amazing. You can walk, you can do kayak. There are some tours that you can take, like in boat and walk and be around nature. It was really amazing. I think that that trip is really worth it. Thank you. Would you like to go there in the future? Yeah, actually, I wanted to go there again, but now Cali and Buenaventura is not in a really good time because there was like an issue there, so I cannot go right now, but I will go there once again. So now we have been talking about a place you have recently visited, and I would like to ask use some more general questions related to the topic. First of all, let's talk about places and tourism. Why do you think people like to travel to different places in their free time? I think it's because you have the opportunity to meet different thoughts. I think that that's the main reason. And of course, the architecture, being in a different weather is something that can be really nice. But what I really like is when you can meet people that think different than you and they can give you like a different perspective about life. So I think that that's the main reason. How do you see tourism changing in your country in the future? Sorry. Well, I think that here in Colombia we're improving that a lot because we're now having different access to go to different places because some years before we were like in a war, so it was really dangerous to go to another place. Now I feel that it can be dangerous depending on the place where you're going, but we have more opportunities to go to some places that now are safe. So that's changing a lot because some years before we were in a war, which didn't allow us to travel. And now we have some freedom about it. Why is it important to protect the countryside? Hmm, that's a really good question. I would say that the more important thing is because we can have the opportunity to know our country. Sometimes we think that going to another countries is really good, and actually it is, but we have to protect our country. And what can be better than being in your own country and knowing your culture? In what ways is the countryside in danger in your country? All right, I'm gonna ask you that. I'm gonna answer that. Well, actually, I think that because of the war that we've been through, um, it really affected our country. Now I think that we are kind of improving in that part, but it was really damaged before. So there are some things that we cannot fix, but we're working on that. And why are historic buildings and monuments important to a city? Basically, because it gives you this history about the place where you are. So, for example, here in Bogota, we have the Candelaria. I think that when you go to that place, you can understand how people used to live here. So, I think that those kind of architecture of monuments give you ideas about how the country is and how the country was. Because, like in Candelaria, you can understand how we used to build things. But for example, when you go to Calle 26 or to any other place that can be like more technologic, you realize how history is being like growing. Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.